Part 1. The Dying Colony. The twin suns of New Terra were setting behind the gray mountains when the sky turned red. It was not the color of sunset, it was fire. The outer defense towers of the colony were burning again. From the command balcony of the central hub, Governor Lyra watched in silence. She had seen the same sight every evening for the last 10 days. The colony was dying and she could no longer hide it. New Terra had once been a symbol of human hope. Built on a planet rich with resources, it was meant to be humanity's gateway to the stars. Families had come from Earth with dreams of starting new lives. Children played in the parks, ships carried goods across orbit, and scientists worked on new technology to help other colonies. But that dream had ended when the Varn Dominion came. The Varn were not traders or explorers, and they were conquerors. Tall, scaled beings with cold eyes, they saw the galaxy as theirs to own. When they arrived in orbit 3 weeks ago, they gave only one message: submit or be erased. Lyra refused. Humanity refused. At first, the colony's defense fleet tried to fight, but the Varn ships were faster and stronger. Within 2 days, every human ship in orbit was destroyed. The remaining survivors fell back to the planet's surface. Now the Varn controlled the skies and New Terra was under siege. Lyra stood at the observation window, hands resting on the metal railing. The command center behind her buzzed with quiet panic. Officers shouted updates about power loss, defense failures, and incoming fire. A loud explosion echoed in the distance, shaking the floor. Dust fell from the ceiling. Status of the eastern wall? Lyra asked, her voice calm despite the chaos. Breach detected, replied Lieutenant Merrick Hale, a young officer with tired eyes. We have ground troops pushing in from Sector 9. The militia is holding them back for now, but we've lost 2 artillery units. Any word from the orbital comm array? She asked again. Merrick shook his head. Still offline. We can't reach Earth. The Dominion's jamming field blocks everything. Lyra sighed quietly. Then we fight with what we have. She turned back to the window. Outside, the lights of the colony flickered like dying stars. She thought of the thousands of civilians hiding in shelters, people who trusted her to protect them. Every day she promised them that help would come. But deep inside, she was no longer sure. The last signal to Earth had been sent 4 days ago. No reply had ever come back. Far above the colony, in the endless black of space, the Varn fleet hovered like vultures. Their ships were shaped like blades, dark and silent. Every few hours, they bombarded the surface, destroying power stations and defense turrets. The attacks were precise, not meant to kill everyone quickly, but to break their will. Inside one of the underground shelters, a group of colonists sat huddled together. Children clung to their parents. The air was heavy with fear and dust. In one corner, engineer Lyra Trent worked on a broken transmitter, trying to boost the signal range. She had been doing this for hours, using whatever parts she could find. Think it'll work? Asked Dr. Yusuf Khan, a medical officer treating a wounded guard beside her. Lyra shook her head. I don't know. But if I can push the frequency beyond the jamming field, maybe someone and anyone will hear us. Yusuf smiled sadly. You really believe Earth will come? Lyra looked up from her tools. Her eyes were tired, but her voice was steady. They have to. We're humans. We don't leave our own behind. In orbit above the clouds of New Terra, one last human satellite drifted in silence. Its solar panels were cracked, its communication systems half dead. But deep inside its core, a tiny light blinked. A repeating message, the last cry for help from a dying colony. To any human ship, this is Governor Lyra of New Terra. We are under attack by the Varn Dominion. Our defenses are failing. Civilians are trapped. Please, if you can hear this, help us. New Terra stands, but not for long. The message played again and again, echoing through static across the void. Most signals were lost in the noise of war. But one fragment, faint and broken, began its long journey toward Earth. Back on the planet, the fighting grew worse. Varn dropships descended from orbit, filling the sky with burning trails. Their ground troops, armored giants wielding plasma rifles, stormed through the broken city streets. Human soldiers, outnumbered and exhausted, fought from behind barricades. Lyra moved through the command post, checking on each station. Her people were tired, hungry, and scared, yet they never stopped working. Every technician, every soldier, every volunteer was doing their best to hold the line. Marek ran up beside her. Governor! The Varn are pushing into the Western District. They've cut power to the medical bay. Evacuate the wounded to the central shelter, Lyra ordered. We'll reroute backup power manually if we have to. She grabbed a rifle from the wall. Merrick frowned. You're going out there? Yes, she said firmly. If I stay here, people will think I've given up. Outside smoke covered the streets. Buildings burned in the distance and the air smelled of metal and ash. Lyra moved with a small squad of guards through the wreckage. They passed collapsed homes, overturned vehicles, and quiet streets filled with the shadows of what once was. She could still hear children crying from hidden shelters below the ground. It broke her heart. Then, without warning, a loud roar echoed overhead. A Varn gunship appeared from behind a building, firing plasma bolts that tore through the street. The guards scattered, returning fire with their rifles. Sparks flew as metal exploded around them. Lyra ducked behind a wall, clutching her weapon. "Get that thing down!" Merrick shouted. One of the soldiers, a young woman named Sergeant Kira Voss, aimed a shoulder launcher and fired. The rocket struck the gunship's wing, sending it spiraling into the ground in flames. The soldiers cheered, but the victory was brief. More enemy troops were approaching. "We can't hold them here," Merrick yelled. Lyra nodded. "Fall back to the main square. Draw them away from the shelters." The squad retreated, covering each other as they ran. Above them, the sky thundered with explosions. Lyra looked up for a moment. Somewhere out there, beyond those clouds, she hoped someone was coming. Hours later, the surviving defenders gathered at the central hub. The colony's outer defenses were nearly gone. The Varn controlled most of the city. Food and ammunition were running out. Lyra stood before her remaining officers, her face covered in dust and exhaustion. "We've done everything we can," she said quietly, "but the truth is we can't win this fight alone." No one spoke. They all knew it was true. Lyra looked around the room. "Still, we will not surrender. As long as one human lives on New Terra, this colony still stands." Merrick placed a hand over his chest. "For Earth," the others repeated softly. "For Earth." Lyra turned to the comm console one last time. The static-filled screen showed the broken transmission log. She pressed the button again, even though she knew it might be useless. "This is Governor Lyra Wynn of New Terra. To anyone out there, please, we are still here. We will hold as long as we can." The message went out again, vanishing into the cold dark of space. Outside, the stars looked distant and silent. No ships appeared. No help came. And yet, far beyond the colony, past the black void of the Varn blockade, a faint signal reached the edge of Earth's listening array. A single alert blinked red on a quiet console. Earth had heard the call. Part 2, the silent response on Earth. The cities gleamed under the soft light of a blue sun. Unlike New Terra, Earth was calm, peaceful, and safe. For now. In the Earth Defense Command headquarters, a massive spaceport towered over the city, filled with ships of all sizes, from cargo freighters to sleek warships. Inside the central command room, Admiral Jason Cole stood before a large holoscreen, frowning at the incoming data. The distress signal from New Terra had arrived hours ago, though it was broken and fragmented. The transmission crackled, repeating over and over. "We are under attack. The Varn Dominion. Help, New Terra." Cole ran his hand over his face. He had heard many warning signals before, but this one felt different. He had studied New Terra's location for years, watched over its development, and now, hearing its final cries, he felt a weight settle in his chest. "Admiral," said Commander Rena Patel, stepping forward. "The signal is weak, but I've amplified it as much as possible. It's definitely coming from New Terra. They're under siege." Cole's jaw tightened. "I know." He turned to the council of officers seated around the room. "What do you recommend?" One officer, a senior strategist named General Holt, spoke cautiously. "Sir, New Terra is far beyond our standard patrol range. Sending a fleet now would leave Earth vulnerable. We cannot risk full engagement." Another officer, Lieutenant Marquez, chimed in. "The Varn are strong. Their fleet is superior to ours. Even if we send help, we could lose a significant portion of our armada." Cole's eyes scanned the room. He saw hesitation, fear, and careful calculation. He also saw what humans often showed in difficult times, a willingness to choose safety over action. "We will not abandon them," Cole said firmly. "We are not here to protect only ourselves. New Terra is part of humanity. If we turn our backs, then we fail everything we claim to stand for." A heavy silence followed. Some officers shifted nervously in their chairs. They had not been trained for this kind of decision. Many were used to defensive strategy, not risking everything to save a distant colony. Cole walked to the map on the holoscreen, zooming in on New Terra. The planet looked small, fragile, surrounded by the dark void. He tapped on the glowing dots representing enemy ships. They are surrounded. Their defenses are failing, and yet they are still sending signals, still holding on. Do you know why? Patel shook her head. Because humans never give up on their own, Cole said, and neither will we. He turned back to the officers. Prepare the Iron Dawn fleet, mobilize the elite squadrons. We go to New Terra, full deployment, no hesitation. Every ship, every soldier, every pilot who can fly will be sent. We save them, murmurs filled the room. Some officers hesitated, worried about Earth's safety. Others felt a spark of pride and determination. Cole raised his hand and the room fell silent. This is not a request, he said. This is an order. If humanity has any honor, we answer this call. Immediately. Within the next hour, preparations began. In hangars across the planet, engineers checked every ship. Pilots ran through simulations. Mechanics adjusted engines and technicians recalibrated weapons. The Iron Dawn fleet was not just any fleet. It was Earth's most advanced force, a combination of human ingenuity, speed, and courage. Captain Sofia Rojas, a veteran pilot, walked among the pre-flight crews. We leave in 30 minutes, she announced. Everyone ready? Hands raised, determination shown in every eye. Young pilots who had trained their entire lives for moments like this, engineers who had never seen combat, and medics prepared to treat the wounded. All were ready. Sophia took a deep breath. Remember, this is not just a mission. These are our people, our brothers, our sisters, our families. Out there, New Terra waits for us. They need humans to show them that no one is ever truly alone. Meanwhile, in the halls of Earth's Defense Command, Cole and his senior officers oversaw the launch. The Iron Dawn fleet was unlike any other. It combined the newest warship designs with experimental technologies. Energy shields adapted in real time, weapons adjusted automatically for speed and distance, and AI-assisted targeting systems allowed human pilots to make decisions faster than any machine alone. Cole walked along the observation deck, watching the ships rise into the atmosphere. He could feel the tension in the air, a mixture of fear and hope. Some of these pilots were young, barely 20 years old, yet they carried the weight of an entire colony on their shoulders. Sir, General Holt said quietly, do you really think they can make it? Cole's eyes did not leave the fleet. They will, he said, because humans don't leave anyone behind. They may be small and the odds may be against them, but they will fight, and we will fight with them. The fleet moved out of Earth's orbit in perfect formation. Thousands of ships blazed a path through space, leaving behind the calm blue planet. On board, pilots checked their controls, engineers monitored systems, and medics prepared for the wounded. In the lead ship, the HES Valiant, Cole stood on the bridge. The stars stretched out before him, endless and black. Somewhere out there, New Terra waited, and the Varn Dominion, unaware of what was coming, thought they had already won. Engage hyperspace drives, Cole ordered. Let them see what humans can do when we answer the call. Outside, the fleet vanished into streaks of light, moving faster than any eye could follow. Back on New Terra, Lyra and her officers worked tirelessly. They did not know help was coming. The colony's walls were breached in several places. Civilians huddled in shelters, and the sound of battle filled the streets. Governor, Merrick said, we're running out of options. Ammunition is low and the Varn are not slowing down. Lyra nodded. Then we hold the line. Every block, every barricade, every soldier, and we fight. They may think we are alone, but humans never give up. Not ever. A young soldier, barely out of training, looked at her nervously. What if no one comes? Lyra knelt to meet his eyes. Then we fight anyway. But remember this, help is coming. It always does. In the dark void of space, the Iron Dawn fleet emerged from hyperspace near New Terra. The fleet's sensors immediately detected the Varn forces. The alien ships had no warning of the incoming attack. For them, the humans of New Terra were already beaten. They did not expect reinforcements. Cole stood at the command center of the Valiant, watching the alien ships on the holographic display. Targeting systems online, he said. Prepare for engagement. Remember, we protect New Terra not just for strategy, for humanity. The fleet spread into formation. Energy shields glowed, engines hummed, and weapons powered up. Every pilot, every soldier, every technician knew the stakes. It was not just a battle. It was a statement. Set course for the outer blockade, Cole ordered. Let's show the galaxy that humans never leave their own behind. Far below, on the surface of New Terra, the colonists looked up at the stars. The sky was dark, filled with smoke and fire. For a moment, hope felt distant, like a dream fading away. And yet, somewhere far beyond the planet, lights appeared. Faint at first, then brighter, moving faster than anything they had ever seen. A spark of hope lit Ilara's heart. She did not know who or what it was, but she whispered to herself. They came. For the first time in weeks, she believed in tomorrow. And somewhere in the fleet, Cole's voice crackled through the comms. This is Earth. You are not alone. Hold on. Help is here. The galaxy, for the first time, began to see the true might of humanity. The stage was set. The fleet was near. The battle for New Terra was about to reach a scale no one had imagined. And the universe would learn. Humans, when united, were unstoppable. Part 3. The Siege of New Terra. The sky above New Terra burned with fire and smoke. The Varn Dominion's forces had taken nearly half the colony, pushing humans into scattered pockets of resistance. Explosions rocked the streets, tearing through buildings and sending plumes of ash into the air. From the central command hub, Governor Ilara Wynn watched the chaos unfold, her heart pounding yet her mind clear. Every second counted. Every decision could mean life or death for thousands of colonists. Sector 7 is lost, reported Lieutenant Merrick Hale, his voice tense. The Varn ground troops are advancing toward the medical shelter. We're stretched too thin to stop them. Ilara's gaze hardened. Then we draw them away. Send the militia to the northern plaza. We'll create a choke point. If we can slow them, maybe we can buy time for reinforcements. Merrick hesitated. Governor, the civilians— I know, she said firmly. Every life matters. But if we hold nothing, we lose everything. That is why we fight. Outside, the streets were a battlefield. Small human squads engaged Varn soldiers in hit-and-run attacks using whatever cover they could find. Smoke and sparks filled the air as plasma rifles clashed with alien armor. The Varn advanced relentlessly, their strategy precise, expecting humanity to crumble under pressure. They had no idea humans were capable of improvisation, courage, and teamwork in ways they could never calculate. In one collapsed district, Sergeant Kira Voss led a group of young soldiers through rubble. Her squad dodged energy blasts and returned fire, moving swiftly from cover to cover. Keep moving, she shouted. We hold this line for as long as we can. A young recruit tripped over a broken pipe. Kira grabbed him. Focus and follow my lead. You are human. You survive. That's what we do. Even in the chaos, there was a rhythm to human resistance. Each soldier knew their role. Each engineer repaired what they could, and each civilian did what they could to help, carrying supplies, tending to the wounded, and keeping hope alive. Deep beneath the city, in the largest shelter, engineer Lila Trent worked frantically to keep the power running. Lights flickered and alarms rang as the colony systems failed. With each passing minute, the situation became more critical. Lila, a voice called. It was Dr. Yusuf Khan carrying injured civilians. We need the medbay running. People are dying. Lila nodded, sweat dripping down her forehead. I know, I'm trying. If I can reroute power from the auxiliary grid, we can get some lights back and stabilize oxygen. She worked with precision and speed, rerouting cables, recalibrating generators, and bypassing damaged circuits. Sparks flew, but she did not stop. Every second counts, she muttered. Every second keeps someone alive. In the streets above, the Varn brought forward their heavy artillery, aiming directly at the colony's core structures. Their massive guns fired with devastating accuracy, tearing through walls and sending shockwaves through the city. The human defenders scrambled to repair barricades and reposition soldiers, their resolve unshaken. Ilara observed the battle from the command hub's main balcony. Her uniform was scorched, dust covered her hair, and her hands were blistered from gripping railings. Yet her eyes were sharp, scanning every movement of the enemy. She could not afford to falter, not now. Not ever then, a sudden change came. In orbit, far above the chaos, the faintest glimmer of light appeared on the horizon. At first, it was just a dot in the black sky, too small to see clearly. But then it grew brighter, moving faster than any star or shuttle could travel. Ilara squinted. Merrick, what is that? Merrick's jaw dropped. I don't know, Governor. Sensors are picking something. Unknown fleet. Multiple signatures. approaching fast. The colonists froze in the shelters and streets. Could it be a trick? Another wave of Varn reinforcements? Or perhaps salvation? Ilara's heart surged with hope. She did not fully understand what she saw, but instinct told her it was what she had prayed for. Prepare the signal cannons, she ordered. If it's help, they need to know we are still holding. Above them, the mysterious fleet accelerated. Suddenly, the ships shifted into formation. They were sleek, powerful, and unlike any vessels the Varn had seen before. Lights glimmered along their hulls, shields activated, and energy weapons hummed softly, a clear sign of readiness. The Varn Dominion's commanders on the battlefield noticed immediately. Their confidence wavered. "What is this?" one of them hissed in their harsh tongue. "Humans, they are not alone?" Back on the streets, human defenders stared upward as the fleet came into view. Shock turned to cheers, rising above the sounds of battle. Civilians peeked from shelters, shielding their eyes from the brilliant glow of approaching ships. The impossible was happening. Someone had come to save them. Ilara's voice trembled, but only slightly. She grabbed the comm. "All units, report. Identify the incoming fleet." "Unknown ships," Marek replied, "but they are human. It has to be Earth." The realization struck them all. Tears streamed down faces hardened by weeks of battle. Hope, once nearly extinguished, now burned fiercely. In orbit, the fleet spread into tactical formation, surrounding the Varn blockade. The HES Valiant, a massive flagship, hovered at the center, lights blazing and weapons ready. Admiral Jason Cole's voice came through secure channels. "This is Earth, we are here. New Terra will not fall. Hold your positions. We fight together." The Varn Dominion for the first time experienced doubt. They had calculated human weakness, isolation, limited resources, fear. Yet here came humans who were organized, prepared, and willing to risk everything for their own. The aliens hesitated. Some attempted to flee. Others prepared for engagement. Ilara rallied her forces. "Soldiers, civilians, militia, hold your positions. We are no longer alone. Earth is here. We fight for our homes, our families, and our people." From every direction, human soldiers, engineers, and civilians felt renewed strength. Energy flowed through them like fire. They repaired barricades, manned weapons, and coordinated attacks. No longer were they desperate. Now they were part of a larger force connected to Earth's mightiest fleet. The first clash came suddenly. Varn dropships attempted to land troops directly on the command hub. Human soldiers fired their last reserves of ammunition. Explosions tore through the air as the first shots from the fleet's orbital weapons hit Varn ships. The sky lit up with energy beams. Lasers and flashes as humans in orbit and on the surface fought side by side. Every shot from the fleet was precise, every strike calculated. Yet the humans on the ground added creativity, traps, diversions, and clever use of terrain to counter alien tactics. The Varn, unprepared for such coordination, faltered. Ilara moved among her officers, issuing orders. "Fire at will. Cover the civilians. Protect the shelters." Marek, beside her, could hardly believe it. "Governor, it's working. They can't push forward anymore." Ilara nodded, her eyes scanning the horizon. "Hold this line. Don't let them think they can ever take New Terra. Not while humans stand." As the battle raged, humans began to reclaim territory. Small victories inspired larger efforts. Civilians helped move supplies, engineers repaired weapons, and soldiers led counterattacks. The combined effort of the colony and Earth's fleet created a synergy no enemy could withstand. In the command hub, Ilara looked at the communications console. Through the chaos, she sent one last message to the fleet. "Admiral Cole, your arrival has changed everything. We thought no one would come, but now, hope is alive again." Cole's reply came almost immediately. "We are here, Governor, and we are not leaving until every human is safe." For the first time in weeks, Ilara allowed herself to breathe. The nightmare of isolation was over. The Varn Dominion, for all its might, would learn the hard way that humans, united, were unstoppable, and far above, in the black void of space, the lights of Earth's fleet glimmered like a promise. New Terra, though battered and scarred, was no longer alone. The siege had entered a new phase, one where hope, courage, and human ingenuity would decide the future. The battle lines were drawn, but the war was far from over. The arrival of Earth's mightiest force was just the beginning. The universe was about to witness the true strength of humanity. Part 4, Earth's Mightiest Force. The sky above New Terra was filled with movement. Hundreds of human ships glimmered against the dark backdrop of space, forming a shining barrier between the Varn Dominion and the colony. The Iron Dawn fleet had arrived, and their presence alone changed the battlefield. For the first time in weeks, the colonists dared to hope. Governor Lyra stood on the balcony of the Central Command Hub, eyes fixed on the approaching fleet. The ships were unlike any she had ever seen. Sleek, massive, and bristling with weaponry, each vessel reflected the light of New Terra's twin suns, creating an awe-inspiring display. On the ground, soldiers and civilians alike stopped to stare. Even in the midst of battle, fear was replaced by determination. Lieutenant Merrick Hale approached Lyra. "Governor, it's real. They've come. The fleet is here." Lyra nodded. "Then let's finish what we started. We are not just defending New Terra anymore. We are showing the universe the strength of humanity." High above the planet, aboard the flagship HES Valiant, Admiral Jason Cole surveyed the battlefield. Through the massive panoramic window, he could see Varn ships preparing for attack. The alien commanders were confident, unaware of the strategy humans were about to unleash. "Status report," Cole said to his officers. "All systems online," replied Commander Rena Patel. "Weapons charged, shields at maximum, pilots ready. Fleet formation is complete." Cole's eyes narrowed. "Good, we hit them fast and precise. Remember, this is not just about firepower. This is about human ingenuity, speed, and unpredictability. That is how we win." The Varn were powerful, but they relied on predictable strategies. Humans were not predictable. They adapted, they improvised, and they fought with creativity that machines could not replicate. The first strike came from the orbital fleet. Energy beams cut through the Varn blockade, striking enemy ships with pinpoint accuracy. Explosions blossomed in space like artificial stars. Alien ships twisted and tried to escape, but humans anticipated every move. On the planet below, Lyra coordinated with her officers. Militia units were repositioned to protect key infrastructure, engineers repaired damaged defense systems, and civilians assisted wherever possible. Every person had a role to play, and each role mattered. Sergeant Kira Voss led her squad through the streets using debris to their advantage. They set up ambushes for Varn ground forces, slowing the enemy advance. Young soldiers, inspired by the fleet above, fought with renewed energy. Lila Trent, the engineer, worked with a team to power up the colony's anti-air batteries. Sparks flew as they rerouted energy, but the weapons came alive, adding their fire to the orbital bombardment. "This is what humans can do," Lila said, her voice steady. "We fight together. We survive together." The Varn realized their mistake too late. Their ships were being destroyed faster than they could react. Alien commanders shouted orders, but human creativity countered every plan. The fleet used adaptive shields to block plasma blasts. Kinetic rail cannons tore through the strongest armor, and AI-assisted targeting allowed pilots to strike with unmatched precision. Even their mistakes became opportunities. A small squadron of fighters performed daring maneuvers, dodging enemy fire while luring Varn ships into traps. Explosions lit up the void, showing the bravery and skill of every pilot. "Impressive," Cole said quietly. "They never stop learning, never stop adapting. That is why humans survive." Back on New Terra, the tide of battle began to turn. Colonists emerged from shelters to aid the defense. Engineers repaired barricades, civilians moved supplies, and soldiers launched counterattacks. The Varn, once overwhelming in number, were now on the defensive. Lyra moved among her troops, inspiring them with words and example. "Hold your ground. Protect your families. Show the Dominion that humans cannot be defeated." The streets became a symphony of human resilience. Every building fortified, every weapon fired, every life saved was a testament to the strength of New Terra's people. Marique approached her, carrying a wounded soldier. "Governor, we're making progress. They can't push forward anymore." Ilara's eyes sparkled. "Good, keep the pressure. This is only the beginning." The Varn, desperate and disoriented, tried to retreat, but the human fleet anticipated their moves. Cole directed the HES Valiant with precision. "Target their command ship," he ordered. "Disable their coordination. Break their morale." Massive energy beams struck the Varn flagship, tearing through armor and sending shockwaves across the fleet. Alien ships began to scatter. The humans on the ground and in orbit pressed the attack. The Varn had underestimated the combination of human ingenuity, courage, and unity. In the skies above New Terra, small human fighters executed daring maneuvers, weaving through the debris of destroyed enemy ships. Each pilot acted with a mixture of skill and intuition, improvising in ways no machine could predict. Even young recruits contributed, guided by instinct and training. "Keep formation," shouted Captain Sofia Rojas. "Every move counts. Protect the colony below." Explosions in space mirrored the fires on the ground. The battle was chaotic, loud, and brilliant. Yet amidst the chaos, humans fought with order and purpose, each action contributing to a larger plan. On the ground, Lyra and her officers coordinated closely with the fleet. Using secure comms, they directed orbital strikes, moved militia units, and evacuated civilians from dangerous zones. Every decision was critical. Every second counted. A Varn squadron attempted to breach the eastern wall. Human artillery fired, rail cannons from orbit struck, and militia ambushes slowed them. The Varn were pushed back, confused by the coordination and determination of humans. Lyra looked at the city, battered but alive. She thought of the children hiding in shelters, the engineers working tirelessly, and the soldiers risking everything. They were the heart of humanity. And now, with the fleet's support, their courage became unstoppable. As the sun rose over the horizon, the battle reached its climax. The Varn flagship, severely damaged, attempted to retreat. Human forces did not allow it. The HES Valiant fired a concentrated energy beam, shattering the enemy ship's engines. Alien commanders surrendered or fled, unable to withstand the combined might of humans in orbit and on the ground. Lyra watched from the command hub as the remaining Varn ships retreated into space. Cheers erupted from every corner of the colony. Tears streamed down faces that had once known only fear. Hope, once nearly extinguished, now burned brightly. Cole's voice came through the comms, calm yet proud. "Governor Wynne, the Dominion is retreating. New Terra is safe for now. And this is only the beginning. Humanity has shown the galaxy its strength." Lyra smiled, her exhaustion momentarily forgotten. "Thank you, Admiral. You've given us more than help. You've given us hope." The survivors emerged from their shelters. Soldiers, engineers, and civilians alike embraced, grateful to be alive. The city was scarred, buildings broken, but life returned slowly. Fires were extinguished, wounded were treated, and energy systems stabilized. New Terra would survive. Lyra addressed the colonists from the central hub balcony. "People of New Terra, we have endured the impossible. The Varn thought we were weak. They thought no one would come. But they were wrong. Earth has come. Humanity has come. And together, we are stronger than any threat the galaxy can send." The crowd cheered, their voices rising in a chorus of relief and triumph. The twin suns of New Terra reflected off the armored ships above, a shining reminder of human courage and resilience. Even the Varn, retreating into the darkness of space, would remember this day. Humanity had arrived, humanity had fought, and humanity had won. For the first time in weeks, New Terra was safe. But more than that, the galaxy had seen a lesson. Humans were not to be underestimated. Their courage, creativity, and unity made them a force unlike any other. And far above, the fleet prepared for what came next, knowing this was only the beginning of humanity's rise among the stars. The battle had been won, but the war for humanity's place in the galaxy was just beginning. Earth's mightiest force had arrived, and the universe would never forget. Part 5. The Message to the Galaxy. The battle over New Terra had ended, but the planet still bore the scars of the Varn Dominion's assault. Buildings lay in ruins. Streets were lined with rubble, and smoke rose from the damaged energy cores. Yet amidst the destruction, life persisted. Humans moved with purpose, repairing what they could, rescuing those trapped and tending to the wounded. The colonists had survived, and the arrival of the Iron Dawn fleet had ensured that their fight was not in vain. Governor Lyra Wynne walked through the streets, witnessing the determination of her people. Soldiers carried supplies, civilians cleared debris, and engineers restored broken systems. Children who had been forced to hide in shelters now watched the sky, their eyes wide with awe at the ship still hovering above. For the first time in weeks, smiles appeared on faces that had known fear for too long. Lieutenant Merrick Hale joined her. "Governor, the Varn are retreating. We've secured the city, but the colony is in chaos. We'll need months to fully recover. Lyra nodded, a tired smile on her face. Months, yes, but we're alive. That is what matters. And the galaxy has seen that humans do not abandon their own. High above, aboard the HES Valiant, Admiral Jason Cole watched the planet with pride. The fleet had stabilized New Terra's orbit, defended key locations, and ensured civilian safety. Every system on the ships was humming at optimal performance, yet there was no time to rest. The galaxy had witnessed the arrival of humanity's might, and now it was time to send a message. Prepare the universal broadcast, Cole said. We send it not as a threat, but as a warning. Let every civilization understand who humanity is. Commander Rena Patel nodded. Message is ready, Admiral. Should I transmit? Cole looked out at New Terra. Yes. Let them hear our voice. Let them know that where humans go, we protect our own. This is not about conquest. This is about unity, strength, and resolve. The broadcast was transmitted from the Valiant and repeated across all channels in the galaxy. Every nearby system, every listening station received the signal. It was clear, simple, and powerful. We are humanity. We fight for our own. We do not leave a world behind. New Terra has been attacked, and we answered the call. Let this serve as a message to all who would threaten our people. Wherever humans are, they are united, they are resilient, and they will rise. Respect our homes, respect our people, and you will survive. Underestimate us, and you will learn the hard way. This is the legacy of Earth. This is humanity. The words resonated across countless worlds. Some listened with fear, others with admiration. Empires, mercenaries, and explorers alike took notice. Humanity was no longer just another species in the galaxy. They were a force to be respected, a civilization united by courage and ingenuity. On New Terra, the broadcast reached the command hub. Lyra and her officers listened together, the words filling the room. The colonists, who had felt abandoned for so long, finally understood that they were never truly alone. They were part of something larger, a network of humans across the stars willing to fight for one another. Merrick turned to Lyra. Governor, do you realize what this means? The galaxy will remember us. Humans have announced our presence. We are no longer just a colony at the edge of space. Lyra smiled, exhaustion and pride mingling in her expression. We have survived because we never gave up. And because humans always answer the call, let the galaxy watch. We will continue to rise stronger than ever. Outside, civilians gathered in the streets, looking up at the sky filled with Earth's fleet. They waved, cheered, and celebrated not just survival but the strength of their people. Children pointed to the ships, eyes wide with wonder. Soldiers saluted. Engineers wiped sweat from their brows, and everyone felt a renewed sense of purpose. Even the remnants of the Varn Dominion retreating into the void would carry the message. Humanity had arrived, and the universe would never forget the day New Terra was defended by Earth's mightiest force. Weeks passed. Repairs continued, and life on New Terra slowly returned to normal. The colony rebuilt stronger defenses, improved communications, and prepared for future threats. Humanity's resolve had been tested and proven. The Varn Dominion would not easily return, and other civilizations would think twice before challenging humans again. Lyra stood once more on the command hub balcony, watching the fleet patrol the skies. Pilots practiced maneuvers, engineers inspected systems, and the soldiers remained vigilant. She felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The colony had survived, the fleet had proven its strength, and humanity had sent a clear message to the galaxy. Merrick approached her, quieter now, his eyes reflecting the glow of the distant stars. Governor, Earth will always come when we call? Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. We are humans, Merrick. We never leave our own behind. That is who we are. That is what the galaxy must understand. And yes, we will always come. As night fell over New Terra, the twin suns' light fading behind the mountains, a sense of peace returned. Fires burned low, streets were cleared, and the survivors gathered to honor those lost in the battle. Human ingenuity, courage, and determination had turned a desperate fight into a historic victory. The broadcast from the HES Valiant continued to echo in the systems beyond, reaching distant worlds and distant eyes. Every civilization that heard it understood that humanity was united, strong, and willing to protect its own. The galaxy had witnessed the arrival of Earth's mightiest force. Humans had shown that even against overwhelming odds, They could survive, adapt, and triumph. Their story would be told across worlds, inspiring hope, fear, and respect in equal measure. Lyra watched the stars, feeling the weight and promise of humanity's future. She knew that this was only the beginning. New Terra had survived, and humans would continue to rise. They would explore, protect, and endure, and the universe would remember the lesson. When humans answer the call, they bring hope, courage, and an unbreakable force, and so, New Terra and the galaxy entered a new era, one where humanity was no longer just a presence but a beacon, a testament to resilience, courage, and the unstoppable will of humans. The universe had learned the truth. Humans never leave their own behind. And when Earth's mightiest force arrives, hope arrives with them.